Right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. I hope you're having a good one. Today we are going to be tying a Caddis emerger pattern. It's pretty simple. There's a little bit to it, but it's not too hard. We're using predator fibres from Semperfli in a silver colour for the SHUCK and the underwing. We've got a Partridge for part of the wing as well as giving it some little legs on the side. For ribbing underneath, we're using some Semperfli 0.1mm copper wire, and for the body there we're using Camel Dubbing. You can change it around though. Caddis come in a range of colours. I was just trying to put a few lighter coloured ones in my fly box, but use olives, light olives, dark greens, greys. I think the main thing with them is having that contrast, so that's why you got the Peacock Herl there in the head. Which gives it that dark head at the front of it, which I think is one of the key triggers with these flies. For the legs, we're using Partridge again as well. Tying it on a Kamsan B110, which is a nice curved shaped hook. I think it's a real natural sort of shape to it, but use whatever hook you see fit. And thread, we're using white and black Semperfli Nano silk, but we'll crack into it, and I hope it's a pattern you find helpful. Cheers. Right, so again we are using Semperfli Nano silk. Great thread, I love this stuff. Now we're starting with the white because we're going to use a light coloured dubbing. It just helps so you don't see the thread showing through. We're just going to put that thread base down and just work our way back into the bend of the hook. Now, I'm tying this on a size 12. Makes it a bit easier for the filming side of things, just with focus and everything like that. Generally though, I'd scale this down size 16, maybe a 14, a few 18s as well. That's just for my locals though, or locals, sorry. Take a look at what's in your rivers and tie them to a size you think's appropriate, but we'll move on to the little SHUCK now. Right, next up we're giving it its little tailing SHUCK behind it. I'm just using predator fibres in a silver colour. This might actually be the silver baitfish, but nice little grey colour. It's got a little bit of reflectiveness to it, a little bit of, hesitant to say sparkle, but it definitely reflects light a little bit. It's just going to look like the remains of the bits and pieces it's crawling out of. And you just want to just tie it in there at the back, and we will trim it off as we go on. Just get the excess out of the way once you got it in there. You could have, well, I could have trimmed it down to where I wanted, but I like to leave it long just so I can, rather than guessing, actually get the right amount. And we'll just secure that in. Just try to keep it on top of the hook as much as you can. And once we've done that, just take our scissors and just snip it off. It doesn't need to be long. Just about, I like to go just about an eye length or an eye length and a half behind the back of the fly. Alright, next up we are going to tie in our ribbing. For this we'll be using Semperfli 0.1mm copper wire. Yeah, if you want a more pronounced or defined ribbing, just go up in the size. But we're just going to secure that onto the fly. Sorry, just hit the light there. And I like to get it just on the other side of the hook for me so that we can counter rib that dubbing. Alright, dubbing. For this one we're using Camel. It's for something different, but it's a nice natural fibre. Dubs really well, and you can fluff it out quite a bit, giving it that sort of pupa or emerger look. But you just want to get that dubbed onto the thread. I'm going to do it a little bit at a time and just build it up the body. Try to make the body as tapered as you can. Sometimes you might just need to tighten up that dubbing noodle a little bit as you go. It's quite a cool colour, this camel. It's sort of cream, almost like a light blonde colour, but really I think ticks the box for those lighter coloured caddis. Again, that ability to fluff it out is quite handy as well. I've said it in other videos again, just take your time with the dubbing. It's easy just to try to smack a whole lot on there and hope for the best, but just build it up as you go, making it nice sort of fat worm tapered sort of look that you get with caddis, little grub. I'm just going to build it up. You can kind of see where my thread has started there. It's about as far up, maybe just behind that we're going to dub, just so that we've still got room to put in the wing and to put in that dark coloured head. And by counter wrapping our wire, it gives us just a little bit more support through it. It's going the opposite way to everything else, so it's just going to clamp down on everything. So hopefully that will be the last little dubbing noodle I need. That should do the trick. And from there we'll just take our copper wire and bring it up through the body, just as evenly as you can. It just gives it that sort of segmented look that you get with a lot of these aquatic insects. And then just tie it in. I usually do a few inches of wire every time I break some off, and it's good for a few flies. And that 0.1, you can just snap it away and it'll snap right on where you've tied it off. Okay, from here we're going to do two things. Firstly, we're going to tie it off because we are going to get rid of this white nano silk now. And replace it with the black shortly. But before I do that, just so you don't catch the thread itself, we're going to dub it out, rough it out a bit. This is a handy little CNF tool I've got, which has got the dubbing brush there, little bodkin on the end, half inch tool, quite handy. But just give it a good old rub with those little steel brush. It's going to tease out all the fibres, give it that real buggy look when it's in the water. It'll go real translucent, look sort of quite pupa-ish or emerger-ish. From there, we're just going to put our black nano silk on again. I'm going to adjust the hook. I had it facing the way it was facing, just made it a little bit easier to tie when I'm filming. Just with the angles and everything. But we'll just start off our nano silk like we would anywhere else and just get it secured in there and get rid of that tag end. We'll go on to the wing now. Right, again for the wing, we're using that Semperfli Predator fibres in that silver colour. What I like to do is just 2 wraps on top. Just a little reminder to stop it from rolling around the hook. If you do your first loop around the top and then just pull it up as you come on up the bottom rather than tightening it as you go down, this will prevent it from wrapping around the hook. If I just do 2, then I can pull all that tag end in just slowly with my fingers and the hand that's holding it. It just means you're not trimming away and wasting materials. Right, just get nice and secure right up onto the dubbing, and then just a very short little course an underwing. The wing coming through all the wing case as it's hatching out of its larval and pupa form. And just snip that there. I go about halfway down the body. You could do shorter if you wanted as well. Alright, next we can do that last part of the emerging wing. So just take a partridge feather and snip out in the middle. It's fine, it gives it a better shape when you pull it through, which you'll see in a second. So we'll just put that on top with the natural curve of it facing down. And just like the predator fibres, we're just going to do the 2 wraps. So wrap it over and tighten as you come up. Another one over the top, and then from there we'll just pull this back down and through. We're just going to squeeze it all together and lay it out over top of that predator fibre, and just get it nice and secured in tightly. And it should just hang out there. Snip away the tag ends and we'll move on to the legs. Right, for legs, doing something similar. We've clipped out the middle of the partridge feather, and we're just going to lay them out on each side. I'll say roughly about the same length, not slightly longer than that wing, and then we're just going to tie them onto each side, one on the side towards you. Get rid of this. And we're just going to lay them down there. Sorry, just try to get that focus back if we can. Excuse me a little bit. There we go. So basically all I did on my side was laid it down there until we got it about the same length as the other side. The first side we've done, just past the wing. Just pinch it in and then wrap it, and if you pull to tighten towards yourself, should hopefully, fingers crossed and all that, not roll around too much. I think we're okay there. And then once again we're just going to clip away that tag end, and we'll just put a little thread base down so we can tie our peacock onto it. There we go. Almost done. Right, for the head we're going to use peacock, but just if you're looking for some other ideas to jazz it up a bit, straggle string from Semperfli work brilliantly, as does the gel core micro frets. Very cool materials, again from Semperfli. They just make so much cool stuff. But for this one we're using peacock. You just want to tie that in, get it secured in there. Fingers crossed, we can just snap that away, and then we are just going to build up that head. And just wrap it down the body until you can tie it in just behind the eye. There we go. Snip it away. Last but not least, whip finish. You can glue that down if you want. I usually just do a couple whip finishes is more than enough. Probably lose it to a tree or a snag before I have it come undone anyway. But there you go. Right, there we have it. One emerging caddis. This is a cool pattern. You can fish it like a nymph, you could swing it. I've actually had fish pick them up on the lift at the end of a drift. Didn't mean to rhyme, but it does. You know, as it's coming down the river, gets to the end, just let it lift up in the water, and I've had a few fish that'll pick it off then. But as I've said through filming this, we've got the SHUCK and little underwing made out of predator fibres. Got the Camel Dubbing, but replace that with whatever you need to. I've also got the 0.1mm copper wire for ribbing, Partridge for the wing and legs, and Peacock Herl. But again, substitute the colours for what's in your local waters and what works for you. But I hope it's been a handy video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and yeah, happy tying. I'll see you next time. Cheers.